Happy day students, welcome to SAN Academy Pallikaranai. This is class 8 history, chapter 10, India after independence. Topics to be covered today: a new undivided nation, a constitution is written, how the states were formed, planning for development, the nation 60 years and on. Let us see about a new undivided nation. When India became independent in August 1947, it faced a series of very great challenges. As a result of partition, 8 million refugees had come into the country from what was now called Pakistan. To the problem of unity was added the problem of development. The new nation had to lift its masses out of poverty by increasing the productivity of agriculture and by promoting new job creating industries. New constitution is written. Between December 1946 and November 1949, some 300 Indians had a series of meetings on the country's political future. The meetings of this Constituent Assembly were held in New Delhi, but the participants came from all over India and from different political parties. These discussions resulted in the framing of the Indian Constitution, which came into effect on 26 January 1950. Dr. Ambedkar, who was the chairman of the draft committee, under his supervision, the final document was finalized. The features of Indian Constitution: universal adult franchise, equality before the law, privileges to the most disadvantaged Indians, declaring the official language of the nation, the emergence of new states. Now let us see about the universal adult franchise. One feature of the Constitution was its adoption of universal adult franchise. All Indians above the age of 21 would be allowed to vote in state and national elections. This was a revolutionary step. Forever before had Indians been allowed to choose their own leaders. But in other countries such as the UK and the United States, this right had been granted in stages. First, only men of property had the vote. Then, men who were educated were also added on. Working class men got the vote only after a long struggle. Finally, after a bitter struggle of their own, American and British women were granted the vote. On the other hand, soon after independence, India chose to grant this right to all its citizens, regardless of gender, class, or education. Equality before the law. A second feature of the Constitution was that it guaranteed equality before the law to all citizens, regardless of their caste or religious affiliations. Privileges to the most disadvantaged Indians. A third feature of the Constitution was that it offered special privileges for the poorest and most disadvantaged Indians. The practice of untouchability, described as a slur and a blot on the fair name of India, was abolished. The Adivasis, or scheduled tribes, were also granted reservation in seats and jobs. Official language of India. There was a major debate in the Constituent Assembly concerning language. Many members believed that the English language should leave India with the British rulers. Its place, they argued, should be taken by Hindi. However, those who did not speak Hindi were of a different opinion. Finally, a compromise was arrived at, namely, Hindi would be the official language of India, whereas English would be used in the courts, the services and communication between one state and another. How were states to be formed? In the 1920s, the Indian National Congress, the main party of the freedom struggle, had promised that once the country won independence, each major linguistic group would have its own province. Both Prime Minister Nehru and Deputy Prime Minister Vallabhbhai Patel were against the creation of linguistic states. A veteran Gandhian named Potti Sriramulu went on a hunger strike demanding the formation of Andhra state to protect the interest of Telugu speakers. As the fast went on, it attracted much support. Due to many hartals and burns under the leadership of veteran Gandhian Potti Sriramulu, the new state of Andhra Pradesh came into existence. A state's reorganization commission was set up, recommending the redrawing of district and provincial boundaries to form compact provinces of various states. The large Hindi-speaking region of North India was also to be broken up into several states. A little later, in 1960, the bilingual state of Bombay was divided into separate states for Marathi and Gujarati speakers. In 1966, the state of Punjab was also divided into Punjab and Haryana. Planning for development. The major objective of the new nation was to lift the country and its people out of poverty. To build a modern technical and industrial based nation comprising various states was to be defined by the Planning Commission. Prime Minister Nehru was a great supporter of this planning process. Nehru's 5-year plan. In 1956, the second 5-year plan was formulated. This focused strongly on the development of heavy industries such as steel and on the building of large dams. These sectors would be under the control of the state. This focus on heavy industry and the effort at state regulation of the economy was to guide economic policy for the next few decades. This approach had many strong supporters but also some vocal critics. Some felt that it had put inadequate emphasis on agriculture. Others argued that it had neglected primary education. The nation 60 years and on. As an Indian, we feel proud of being united in a democratic country which has people who follow different customs and religions. But, on the other hand, deep divisions persist. Despite constitutional guarantees, the untouchables, or as they are now referred to, the Dalits, face violence and discrimination. In many parts of rural India, they are not allowed to access to water sources, temples, parks, and other public places. And despite the secular ideals enshrined in the constitution, there have been clashes between different religious groups in many states. Above all, as many observers have noted, the gulf between the rich and the poor has grown over the years. Some parts of India and some groups of Indians have benefited a great deal from economic development. They live in large houses and dine in expensive restaurants, send their children to expensive private schools, and take expensive foreign holidays. At the same time, many others continue to live below the poverty line, housed in urban slums or living in remote villages on lands that yield little. They cannot afford to send their children to school. The Constitution recognizes equality before the law, but in real life, some Indians are more equal than others. Judged by the standards it set itself at independence. The Republic of India has not been a great success, but it has not been a failure either. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.